Isang lahat.
Okay, ready, go. So good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Jersey Diana Tanamot.
I am Lawrence Day Alonso.
I am Lucy Ferdinand.
And we are the researcher of the study entitled Pedagogical Functions of Code Switching in Language Instructions. The overview of the study. The Philippines is a Southeast Asian country with more than 170 different languages, having most of its citizens speaking 3 or more languages. According to Hoffman, 1991, code switching is the situation in which 2 languages are used in the same utterance, and Myers-Hoffman, 1993, defines it as a process in which there are alterations of linguist varieties within the same speech act. There are 3 types of code switching identified by Poplock, 1980, which are tag switching, intersentential switching, and intrasentential switching. On the other hand, there are 5 evidence-based dimensions identified by the pedagogical model that describe what high-quality teaching practice looks like, as stated in Victoria State Government webpage 2022. These are engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. Many studies have explored various concepts, ideas, and purposes of code switching, and they often look at its impact, benefits, effectiveness, advantages, and disadvantages. However, they have inadequately explored the pedagogical functions of the distinctive types of code switching used in teachers' instruction. So this study focused on identifying, first, what are the types of code switching commonly utilized by the English language instructors during their classroom discourses, and second, what are the pedagogical functions performed by the English language instructors during classroom discourses. Second is the methodology. Research design. This study made use of a qualitative research design, particularly an observational type of approach where researchers observe participants' ongoing behavior in a natural situation. The participants, there are 3 English language instructors from the Bachelor of Secondary Education program. The instrument used is cell phone, video, and audio recording.
So for the results and discussion, a classroom observation was conducted by the researchers with the aid of consented video recording and the note-taking. So data gathering was made possible. After the procedure, transcriptions were produced that were followed by identifying the types and pedagogical functions of code switching phrases that were present during the language instruction. Then an expert was consulted to validate the findings, and with identified types and pedagogical functions, a tally was made, and with the total tally, the researchers were able to identify the results of the study. First is the type of code switching, and the second is the pedagogical functions of code switching in language instruction. So the results are as follows. For the first statement of the problem, what are the types of code switching commonly utilized by the English language instructors during their classroom discourses? So on page 4 of our paper, we have included there table 1, which is the types of code switching and the total number of times the instructor performed a particular type of code switching. So excerpts was included in the following pages that will serve as an evidences that the instructors are performing an act of code switching. So for the first type of code switching, We have here excerpts 1 to 3, but I will be using excerpt 2 as an example. So instructor 2 says, now to continue, according to Atienza, Ramos, and Salazar in his book, famous book Literature, Pedagogical Filipino, he said that true literature is a piece of written work which is undying, so it means forever, just like a song we found. So the second excerpt presented above shows tag switching act committed by the second language instructor when having his discourse in classroom, and in this case, the instructor used the word diba, which translates into right in English, since the instructor is asking if he was right that a true literature is a piece of written work which is undying, just like a song. With that, it is a clear example where it shows the tag switching of a single word or tag phrase or both from one language and an utterance of another language, which is Bisaya. So, and in this case, for the excerpt number 2, the instructor used the word diba. For the second type of code switching, we have the intersentential code switching. I will be using the excerpt number 4 as an example. Oh no, excerpt number 5, I mean. So he says, instructor 2 says, daw di ko na may classmate na kuan. Okay. The thing is, since equal man ta, I will project it in the board, so how about katong mga nearsighted? Dili lugar na ko ipaduol. To promote equity, katong mga nearsighted, akong ipaduol diri sa front para kuan sa ilaha, para maklaro nilang tarong. Equal opportunity for everyone. That is equity, di ba? So the fifth excerpt presented above shows intersentential code switching act committed by the second language instructor. In this particular situation, the instructor used the phrase, daw di ko na may classmate na kuan. Okay. Which translates into, what if you have this classmate? Oh, okay. The thing is, since equal man ta.
Okay, we do not anymore expound on the meaning or the discussion, but please can you just proceed to question, as a question, what's the significant result, and what's the conclusion, and what's the recommendation.
Okay.
Okay.
So for the results of our first statement of the problem, as shown in the table, the results states there that the 3 types of code switching that were present, the 3 types of code switching were present during the classroom discourse observation. So we conclude that we can say that intersentential code switching, in the intersentential lab, the researchers found out that among the participants, several code switching acts, intersentential was the frequently used type, which ranked first, followed by the tag switching or extrasentential code switching type in the middle, and the intrasentential as the rarely code switching type by the English instructors. So we recommend that this study suggests that further investigation and research shall be made to gather adequate data on the code switching acts of English instructors or teachers in their classroom discourse through a conduct of an in-depth classroom observations as to better understand the pedagogical functions.
Okay, so for our second research problem, it queries about what are the pedagogical functions performed by the 3 English language instructors during their classroom discourses. So our results show that the 5 pedagogical functions are utilized during the classroom discourses, and all of them are actually present. So these pedagogical functions are engage, explore, evaluate, elaborate, and explain. So for our conclusion, in the analysis of the pedagogical functions of these code switching acts, the lead researchers have identified that the foregoing participants use code switching frequently to explain, commonly to engage, sometimes to evaluate, and sometimes to elaborate and explore during the classroom discourses. So we also have found that in the studies of Allen and Maros 2014 and Young 2011, Alinazit 2010 and Norden et al. 2013 also revealed some similar findings in relation to the frequent use of code switching for the pedagogical purpose of explaining and providing relevant examples of classroom discourse. So our recommendation for this research problem is that if the research study recommends the use of a variety of techniques such as surveys and interviews with English majors instructors to get their insights on the time when and underlying reasons why they switch codes during their classroom instruction and also their attitude toward such acts in second language classes. So here are references.
Okay. Can I go first? Okay, so prior to your submission of the paper to me, I suggested that you are going to have your results of the study. Yes, ma'am. Did you do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I find the, can you give me the result of the validation of the expert? And then I would like to comment on the conclusions because your conclusions do not sound like conclusions, they sound like findings. For example, if the teachers do or the pedagogical functions of code switching are this, to explain, to engage, to evaluate, and to elaborate, then what? What does it tell us about the use of code switching among teachers?
So we actually have stated on the conclusion of the paper that code switching is a habitual language practice of the English or language instructors, which they utilize distinctive types and different teaching strategies or functions of these code switching acts during classroom discourses.
So, what do you recommend if that is an habitual practice? Your recommendation should not be in relation to the research methodology or further research, but it should be a recommendation in relation to the findings of your study. So if there's an habitual practice, so what can you recommend to the teachers? What can you recommend
We have known
to
that
future teachers like you?
yes, we have known that code switching does more good than harm. Based on our recommendation, the reasons why a teacher code switch it is still unknown, it is still not studied, but we have known that we recommend that a teacher can code switch more to, especially when the students have a difficult time understanding specific topic of his or her lesson.
And also I'd like to add that since we have identified that code switching has been a habitual practice of the English language instructors during their classroom discourse, so we would like to recommend that to conduct further research on the code switching because it, as what have Ms. Jersey had said, it actually has more positive impacts on the teaching and learning process as opposed to other studies have said that code switching is undesirable and should not be encouraged during the classroom discourse. However, we have found that they actually have purpose. They are not impediments to the cognitive competence of the students and the students during the language instruction.
Okay, so I have one question for each one of you and you need to answer this. Number one question now. You need to answer. Which part of the paper did you write? And what challenges did you encounter in doing this part of the paper? And how did you address these challenges? Let's start with you, Jersey.
The part where we transcribe.
No, you alone. Which
Yes,
part?
the
Did you assign the
description.
different parts?
Yes, ma'am. The transcription.
In the description.
Yes, ma'am.
So your job is to transcribe
From
the
the video that we recorded.
and then what were the challenges that you encountered in transcribing?
First is there were inaudible part of the recording that we weren't able to transcribe since it is inaudible. Then it is kind of lengthy. We had a hard time transcribing because of the length of the video.
Now, given the length of the video and your difficulty in transcribing, or it's a challenge to transcribe it because of the length of the video,
And
did you still completely transcribe the entire video?
yes, po.
How many videos did you transcribe?
since we have 3 participants only. That's
So,
not
two video,
what we
two.
Two videos that 30 minutes per session.
Okay, other than the transcription of the video, what else did you do in the paper? Which part? Transcription lang? Who wrote the abstract? Who wrote the introduction? Who wrote the methodology? Who wrote the results and inspection? So you go next. What's your contribution to your
So,
paper?
my contribution to this research study is that I've helped in constructing the abstract, in the introduction, particularly in our research gap. I wrote the research gap, our statement of the problem, or formulated a research problem, and I consulted it with my group mates to actually convert it that part. And as well as the research design participant in the study and research locale, we converted that one, so all of us contributed in that. For data gathering, I worked on the data gathering procedure and facilitated.
So basically, you contributed to everything.
Yes,
as
ma'am.
part of your paper. Now, among those that you have contributed, which one is the most challenging part for you?
I think that the most challenging part that I did for our research study is the conclusion, because as what you said, ma'am, it isn't aligned to what is expected for us to write, and I have written and rewritten our conclusion since that there are changes, and because our results have been validated, so the results have been changed again, and so I have to rewrite our conclusion, change the abstract again, and so it's actually like kind of tiring.
No, I'm not going to ask you that question because you're the ones who always consulted me related to your research. And I know you've done your best to complete this. My question now is, did it change some of your perspective in the way you do research? Did it make you or did it help you grow professionally or what's this, personally?
Personally, ma'am, it helped me
Maybe good luck.
it helped me grow that in a way that you really have to work for your grade in a sense that there are a lot of sacrifices to be made just for the sake to complete and gather all the necessary data for our research. And also,
Do you have any realizations?
I realized that doing this research in relation to our research, code switching, in relation to code switching, teachers code switch for a reason, and that it is not just a habit, but it is a strategy for them to enhance their classroom discourse.
Yeah. Then one significant suggestion to improve your paper, the way you present your table, maybe use EPA format. I think we suggested you use, wala siya, hindi siya, it's just like, you know,
Yes.
Hindi pwede itong okay, so, ano ba po? Ma'am Laura,
na-question man naman si Tanano. What gaps in knowledge are you trying to fill with your research? What gaps in knowledge based on the research that you have found out, and what gaps in knowledge are you trying to answer in your research?
Like, so as emphasized in our research gap now, that there are actually a lot of studies in relation to code switching. However, they have inadequately explored on the pedagogical functions of such phenomena. And so that is a gap that we would like to fill in order to have a clear perspective on code switching and how it actually affects the teaching and learning process.
So, what does that imply to you as future teachers?
So,
So it implies that as teachers, we recommend the code switching, teachers code switch because as said in there that they used it to explain on it is a way for the teachers to enhance and connect with the students.
So you will promote the switching.
But
Yeah, on the end of the students, it would be appropriate to encourage them to actually speak fluently in English. But for the teacher, it would be much more ideal to actually use code switching because it is highly effective on their end.
Okay. My suggestion to your paper, perhaps you can put headings on the results of discussion, like types of code switching utilized by language instructor, and then next is on what was the others, pedagogical functions performed para the leaders will be guided, no? And then you can improve your table. I need to have a magnifying glass. I cannot I cannot see. And put the total and the percentages. It will be easier for you to discuss then the findings of the results based on the totality of what you have observed the three structures now. And then some portion in your conclusions are actually has to be related to your results of discussion, like the findings of ASEAN, and then having and mark students be found in your conclusion, but embedded in the discussion of your results. And then what else? Wala na nag-answer si question. Si Diana. How did you observe the ethical protocol in the conduct of your study? So how did you approach the teachers, the three language teachers? How did you observe the class of those courses? What ethical considerations did you practice and observe? Sige, saan to?
So first, ma'am, is a letter of permission to conduct observation was secured from the Dean of the College of Education, then of the BSP po, ma'am. Then the letter was forwarded to the BSP chairperson for approval po, ma'am. Then after that, we set an appointment first with them that concurred the schedules of the classroom observations that were conducted. Then the researchers, the researchers who conducted recorded classroom observations to properly document the different types of code switching and pedagogical functions.
I mean, what ethical principles did you follow? So aside from the consent, no, you ask permission, that's for consent.
Respect for potential and enrolled participants po, ma'am. Individuals should be treated with respect from the time they are approached for possible participation, even if they refuse enrollment in a study throughout their participation and after their participation ends.
So for you have observed voluntary participation, what else? Respect.
What about the students?
The students cannot go to the classroom.
The teacher that we were observing, they were the one who explained if it's okay for the students to be included in the recording.
the letter, ma'am, and then the letter was given to the
So that should be explained in your paper, no, sa ethical protocol. Aside from the informed consent, how you conducted it with the classroom observation. So, yung participants, hindi lang three teachers. Your three teachers are your subjects. And your participants are the students also in the classes that you have observed. So yung participants in the study. Okay, so congratulations for conducting the research and doing very well in your writing. Mom says,
Okay, congratulations. I agree with all the in your data gathering procedure, it's not clear what you used. So you have to discuss that there. And then there is a lengthy discussion on ethical consideration, but these are actually from the book. So
yeah,
how
those
do
not
you
apply to your perspective. How did you contextualize that? How did you use that in the sense? Okay, so like if you say that it's anonymity, so how did you observe that? Right? Okay. Theoretical, what you have here is theoretical, but we look for how you incorporate that, how you use that in the. And then, how did you do your data analysis?
We transcribed the video recording that we did, ma'am. And then after that, we identified the types and then the pedagogical functions.
You say that.
Okay, so, I think you have that there, as a data analysis. That's a procedural. And then, just like what they suggested, you arrange your table, arrange from highest to lowest because you have frequency and frequency. And then, same suggestion from Laura, have some headings because your focus actually the way you presented are by excerpt. So I'd like to have tag. Okay, pag tag, isa lang yun siya ang excerpt na samples so that we can so ang subheading ninyo pa nakita, tag switching. So pag tag switching, what are the sample statements of the excerpts nila so that we can discuss. So the focus will be not about the excerpt, the way you present it, but it should be the tag and then kung say samples, discuss. Okay? And then, wait lang. Remember the excerpt, how did you choose the excerpts there?
So we chose
Kaya
that.
lang, yung discourses tulagan tayo, no? Katulang na ay.
We chose which would best fit to the type and function of code switching
Which means you rejected some?
Not really know this.
Actually, the first draft, ma'am, or yung dimension talan na nag-inom ko nga, just give some samples and then instead of putting everything there, talan na hindi na react. So, I suggested that you count how many types and put it on the table and then the discussion will be at the basis of sample na rin. That's all.
Okay, and then some of your conclusions, transfer to results and discussion. So the same question actually, which I think you have answered already, based on your findings, like linguistically, because you have there, your recommendation about some research, same observation from them. But in terms of language, what's in your recommendation? Like you were saying earlier that you recommend that ideally the teacher will code switch, but if you look at it, if you look at your samples, your teachers, the teachers that you have observed were teaching what subjects, that can be one explanation, right? Because I think one excerpt here is not about English language, but about the results of so probably you can support your explanation by saying that the teachers you have observed, although they are English teachers, they are teaching not in English language, but a content course. No? So probably that's why, that might explain, that's why they are code switching in terms of explanation, because they are into, letting the students understand the content instead of focusing on the language, no? So something like that. Thank you. One other question, because tato akong concern and findings.
Okay, no more. Congratulations.
Yeah, I like their